Good morning. Emma is now well into her last year of university, and that's taking quite a toll on her time. So I've been here a bit more on my own working on the Rectory the last couple of weeks, although my mum has been coming by and helping out, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, this is my second day here this week, and the first day I forgot to put a memory card in my camera. So first of all, I'm just going to go around and show you what I did when I didn't have my camera with me. And then hopefully today I can carry on and be a bit more organised with the filming. So first of all, this downstairs bathroom again, we've now finished stripping this out. So the bath's gone, both of the toilets are gone. This room's pretty disgusting, but at least it's now clear and ready to be replastered. And upstairs, I think is a little bit more interesting. So let's head up. The bathroom up here, the asbestos contractors had stripped all the asbestos off this dividing wall between these two upstairs bathrooms, and they left me to remove all the plaster from it. So most of that day was spent stripping the plaster and lath off this wall. We've still got the toilets in here to do, so hopefully I'll get on with that today. These beams in this room, these studs, I won't be removing right away. I have some concerns about whether this diagonal is providing any support to anything. So luckily, in a couple of days, the structural engineer is coming by, and I'm going to get him to have a good look at this and tell me if this could be supporting anything before I remove it. But obviously we'd love to get this out so that we can undivide this window and just have this as one big sash window here. This attic space, we're hoping to just open this central area, which is sort of already a hallway, and open it into this corner room, just to make one enormous sort of hall area up here. And then this wall, which is mostly stripped now, and the toilet gone, so that's looking so much better. I'm hoping I can also take out this door frame just to really open up the shape of this big area up here. We're still going to have to see how this big sort of open plan area works with building regulations and fire safety. It's essentially just going to be a hallway rather than a room, but we'll obviously have to see if that gets approved or whether the architect thinks that's a good idea. I'm waiting for the results from the company that came to measure everything up and draw up the provisional plans. So hopefully in another week or so, I'll have the sort of before plans drawn up, which means I can then get started with the architect. As for today, the main things I want to get done are to get those toilets out of that upstairs bathroom and to remove some floorboards because I want to expose some more of the structural beams for when the structural engineer comes so he can see what's going on a bit better. So let's get on with that now. I got myself some nice long thick rubber gloves to wear pulling these toilets out. It's not particularly nice getting your arms covered in toilet water. go. Now I've just got to get it out of the house without chucking toilet water everywhere. Oh, after all of that talk of big heavy gloves, I actually forgot to put them on. That wasn't very clever, never mind. Slight problem here. I don't know what's going on here. The water's been off in this flat for a bit longer, and that is not pleasant. So before I get started on this, I'm just going to flush a few buckets of water down there, or one big bucket of water down there. Oh, that is not a nice smell. This is the very last toilet, and apparently I've saved the worst, most disgusting one till the end. This is the fun part. The toilets take up rather a lot of room in the skip, but it turns out a sledgehammer can deal with that problem quite effectively.
And another one bites the dust.
While I've been busy with demolition inside the house, my mum's been working on the garden. In front of the house, between the house and the road, we've got this lovely big section of grass, but it's really overgrown in places. There's just all these little bushes that have just taken over, and my mum over the last month or so has been busy just pruning back all the bushes that were blocking out all the light. And we've now got this lovely open space here. There's a bit more here to go. It occurred to me the other day that I've not really said much about the little garage at the far end of the garden. And this is it. It's just a very cheaply constructed single garage. It's got a wooden door, it's got an asbestos roof, and I'm not really sure what the wall's made of, some kind of concrete slab I think. But that's it. It's just a useful place for us to dump our junk while we're working. But hopefully it'll be useful as a little garage one day. As this house was a rectory, it was of course built near a church, And a couple of people have asked about the church and the churchyard, so I thought I'd just quickly show you where that is. This is one of the entrances. It's a bridge. It used to be a bridge. The river's actually been filled in, but the bridge is still here. The river was redirected years ago. But just across the road, there's the church. This should come down really easy with just my bare hands. The only downside is it's incredibly messy. So I've got a tarp here to set up below, and hopefully we can do it without completely getting lost in a cloud of dust. Take off my nice hoodie. Oh, this one's still screwed to the wall. Never mind. I finished working up here in the attic for now. There's still a little bit more to do on this wall, but the main thing I've been doing is just tidying up. I got the hoover up here and just giving it a really good clear up. I've also taken a bit more stud wall out of this gap here, so it's much wider now. So we've got this lovely wide corridor now going right the way through. And as I say, I've taken a vacuum cleaner to the whole place. So it's actually almost looking nice up here now with all the light coming in and all the walls gone. And today my stepdad Rob is here, and he is helping to get rid of a whole bunch of unwanted old pipework. So we are making a mess, stripping out all this pipework. One big hassle of this process is that even though the pipes have been drained or the heating system has been drained, the water's been turned off, all the individual pipes are still full of water, and it's just incredible how much water comes out of each pipe as you try and remove it. So having to carefully drain each pipe as we remove it, as we cast out, just to avoid making too much mess. had a good meeting with a structural engineer yesterday. He went through and answered all of my questions about what can and can't be removed. So I'm just going to go through and show you that now. So first of all, this upstairs bathroom, I got the news I was hoping for here, which is that this stud wall is not structural. It's not supporting anything important. So we can go ahead and cut that out. There is also the bottom of the attic staircase in this room on the other side of that wall. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the plaster off the bottom of that staircase and see what's going on inside. And then I'm going to take out the rest of this stud wall and recombine this into one big bathroom. The second thing I wanted to ask the structural engineer about is up in the attic. Feels so much more open up here now. We've got started stripping things out. And that has to do with this wall here. Now there's a very large diagonal beam here and a vertical beam, which are part of the roof structure. So those certainly can't go. But what the structural engineer said is that these verticals at the bottom, they're not structural, so we can take those out. And this vertical that's holding this door frame, similarly, that can come out. So this will just then form a big triangle of joists. The only problem that the structural engineers pointed out is that these upper sections above the big joist, above the big roof support, those could be supporting the dormer window here. So what the structural engineer has said is that we're good to cut out all these studs at the bottom and this door frame, but to leave the woodwork at the top for now until we can get more clarification on how the dormer window is being supported. And finally, the third question I had for the structural engineer is all the way down on the ground floor. And that has to do with this little stub of a wall that sticks out in this hallway. So I hope I can get a good clear view of this. A bit of wall on the right here that just sticks out and doesn't appear to serve any useful function. And unfortunately, the answer I got from the structural engineer about that is that that little stub wall is providing lateral support for this much bigger wall next to it. He said that as far as he can tell, there's nothing stopping that wall from falling sideways apart from the support provided by this little stub. So if we need to remove that, which we really do want to, then we're going to have to add some sort of bracing at the top of the wall next to it to make sure it doesn't fall over, basically. So I'll be getting somebody to look into doing that, because I think this hallway would really benefit from that wall being gone. And we're keen to get rid of this boarding off the side of the staircase as well, and maybe put a nice banister in there instead. And that would let even more light into this tiny corridor for this second front door. So that's it. I'm going to get started today on removing that stuff from the upstairs bathroom. here we go. Going to take these studs out. Well, that hasn't quite gone according to plan. First of all, I removed the plasterwork from the bottom of this staircase. And as I expected, there is just a big hollow area under the stairs with a couple of joists going across. Unfortunately, what's not clear to me, and I might have to get somebody who knows a bit more about joinery to have a look at this. It's not clear to me to what extent this structure is supported by the stud wall behind it. There's just this one stud that goes across that seems to be nailed to the wall, which I suspect is holding up some of this staircase structure. So these first couple of studs I won't be rushing to rip out. And then that takes me on to the other studs. And what I've done is I've cut the bottom of each of these, and they came away very easily. They're certainly not taking any weight. But up at the top, I've got a problem. Quite a big problem. The ceiling joists of the other half of the room, I hope you can see what's going on here. These wall studs are between the joist at the top and the ceiling joists. So even though they're not actually supporting anything, they are physically like in the way of the nails which are holding the ceiling joist to the next room up. And it's the same on each one. There's a ceiling joist coming across, and then it goes through this stud work and then into the main roof joist. So unfortunately, in order to do a proper job of getting this wall out, I'm going to have to rip down the entire ceiling of this second half of this bathroom. I'm going to have to take the ceiling joists out and then put new joists in and re-secure them. In the meantime, I can still cut through these studs at the top and just leave them dangling. So I might just do that, at least for the ones I've already cut off at the bottom. So I've now got a much bigger job. I've got to either completely strip that ceiling and completely rebuild it, which I think might be quite tricky, but maybe worthwhile, or I just find a way to patch up those gaps. I will get some advice and see what we can do. And with any luck, this will be our master bathroom. We've just got to work out where to put the shower, where to put the bath, that kind of thing. This lowered ceiling in this corner does make laying things out a bit more tricky, but hopefully we can come up with something nice here.